Hi, thanks for tuning in. My name is Yanis, and I'd like to show you all of the cool options you can use with Prezi Design's maps. First, I'll show you where to find the maps in the editor, we'll cover all of the available customization options, and I'll show you how to add data to your map. We'll also get to know the different ways how you can download your maps and share them online. Then, I'll demonstrate how you can use maps for live data updates, and we'll cover how to make your maps more interactive with links and callouts. At the end, I'll show you how you can use your own custom maps in Prezi Design. But now, let's get started. When in the Prezi Design dashboard, to start creating something new, you're going to have to go through the Prezi Design template library, and you can access it by selecting one of the shortcuts at the top of the dashboard. For example, let's select Start from Template. In the template library, you'll have access to hundreds of various templates, and you can add your interactive maps to any of these. For example, you could create an infographic and add a map to it. Also, you could create a report, for example, and add your map to that. So basically, you can create maps in any of the projects available here in the Prezi Design template library. You can just switch through the categories here on the left side of the page. And here you'll also see that there's a Maps category. So here you have some maps that you can choose from, like a map of the world or a map of Europe. So if you want to populate one of these with your data, you can just select it and then you'll be taken to the editor, or you can always start from scratch. So here in the top left corner, we can see that there's a blank thumbnail, and let's select it to go into the Prezi Design editor. Now we're in the editor with the canvas in the center of the page, and since this training session is dedicated to maps exclusively, let's add a map right away. So in the Prezi Design editor, content can be added from the toolbar on the left of the page, and here you will see an option that says Add Map, so let's select it. And here you can see a list of almost 900 interactive maps that you can use in your Prezi Design projects. Before I show you how to add one, let me quickly go to the Custom tab here at the top, and I just want to mention that users of the Premium plan and users of the Prezi Teams plan can upload their own map files to use in their Prezi Design projects. You can just select Upload and then add a JSON, GeoJSON, TopoJSON, or KML file, and that will be available in your library, so you're going to be able to reuse it at any moment. But I'll get back to this at the end of the training session. Now let me go back to the Maps tab, and here to look for a map, you can just use the search bar at the top of the list. So you can look for cities, for example, and then we get several maps of London. We can also look for countries like France, for example. Maybe you're in the US and you'd like to look for a specific state for your data, you can do just that. And there we get several maps of California. So just use the search bar at the top here and look for a map like that, or you can also click on the drop down here that says Map Categories, and then you can look through these and pick a map like that. And once you've found a map you'd like to use, you can just hover over its thumbnail and select Insert to add it to the canvas. You can also drag and drop it onto the canvas. So let's select this map of the United States, for example. Okay, there we go. We have the map on the canvas, and now let me just resize this to make it a bit larger. So in the Prezi Design editor, you can easily resize the canvas by hovering over one of the sides and then clicking and dragging your mouse. And the same goes for the bottom part of the canvas. And with the objects like this map, you can also hover over one of its sides or one of the corners and then easily resize it by dragging your mouse. Let's place it in the center. Okay, there we go. We have a map of the US. Now that we've added a map to our project, let me go over its customization options. And once you select an object on the canvas, you'll see the settings appear on the right of the editor. So the first thing we could do is select Map Properties, and here I want to show you the two different map types you can use in Prezi Design. So if we select the drop-down under Map Type, you can see that it's possible to select between an area map and an icon map. With the area map, you'll be able to compare data between different areas, or in this case, different states. And to open the datasheet of the map, we just have to double click on it. And there we can see all of the data here. So all of our maps have placeholders for you to see how to format them properly. So here we can see that all of the states are displayed. If we go back and select the icon map, now you'll see that each data entry has its own dedicated icon. So let's go back to the datasheet and let's delete all of the entries that we have here. So with the icon map, you can actually pinpoint specific locations on the map. For example, let's enter a name of a city here in this cell. And let's add a value to it. And there we can see Los Angeles appear on the map with its coordinates intact in the fourth column. This way you can enter city names, street addresses, and postal codes, and this will not work only with the US map, this will work with every map you can add in Prezi Design, so you can use this to pinpoint specific locations. And we can even enter a name of a landmark. And there we go, the Golden Gate Bridge also appears on the map. So you can enter the names of the locations here in the first column, or you can use the fourth column that is named coordinates. Here you can copy and paste coordinates in the cells and pinpoint the locations this way. Let me undo this and go back to the area map. There we go, and now let's go back to map properties, and in addition to the two map types, you can also switch between 3 different styles. So currently we're looking at a heat map, and this assigns a hot and a cold color to the values that you have in your datasheet, so you can interact with the legend to have a look at the different areas. If we go to the datasheet, you'll see that the second column is called the value column, and in this case, the higher the value here in the datasheet, the darker the shade of green for that state on the map. So you can of course change the colors however you want to yourself. Then we also have the individual style, so this assigns an individual color to each entry that you have in your datasheet. Maybe not perfect when you have all of the states displayed on your map, but this can come in really handy if you want to highlight something specific, or you can also use this with an icon map, for example. And then we can also select the group style. This map assigns a color to each group that you have in your datasheet. So if we go there, you'll see that the third column is called the group column, so you can enter group names here for the entries that you have in your map, and then assign colors to those groups. Now let me go back to map properties, and let's go back to the individual style. I'll go to the datasheet, and here let's delete all of the entries that we have here. And let's add California and Nevada. Okay, so now let's have a look at the other properties that we can access here. And the first thing that we can toggle on is the auto zoom option. So if we enable it, you're going to see that the map zooms in to the locations that we have in our datasheet. So this can come in really handy if you have several tabs on your map and you want to visualize specific locations under each tab, so you can use auto zoom that way. And with one simple click, you can see that the map zooms in and out. In addition to this, you can also go to the top right corner of the map where you'll see the zoom and resize option. So let's select it. And now we can actually click on the plus and minus symbols. And then we can also easily drag the map how we want it to be placed on the canvas. So this way you can also visualize a specific area of your map. And once you're happy with the result, you can just select apply in the top right corner and it will stay like that. Then we can also add labels here. So we can enable that and you'll see labels appear on the map. And of course, under the fonts tab, you can customize these however you'd like to. Then we have the option that says hide missing areas. So if we enable that, all of the other areas on the map that don't have data dedicated to them in the datasheet, they will disappear. So if we zoom out of the map, we can see that now only these two states are displayed. Then we have the option to enable a tile layer. So you can use this to have a different look for your map. And if we scroll down a bit here in the dropdown, you can select between different tile layers for your map. Then the next thing that we have here is the option that says show mobile interactivity hint. And with this enabled, when your viewers are looking at your projects that have maps, they will see interactivity hints, encouraging your viewers to interact with the map. Here we can also disable the zoom controls option. Zoom controls will appear to your viewers when they're looking at your map online, and then if this is enabled, they can zoom in and out on the map. Here we also have the downloadable data option. So if we enable it, you can see that in the bottom left corner of the map, now we have this button that's appeared. And with this enabled, your viewers will be able to download the data that you visualized on your map. And here we also have the hide tabs option. So if you have several tabs on your map, you can hide them if you'd like to, maybe if they're linked to another map or another chart, so you can use this option as well. Here we also have some sliders like the tile layer opacity, outline width, map region opacity, so you can switch between these. So we could maybe make this darker so that we can see the areas better on the map. So let's move on to the next tab. Now we can have a look at the color tab. This is where you can change the colors of your map. So here you just need to select a color box, and then you can choose one of the palette colors. You can use a custom color if you'd like to, and you can also copy and paste a hex color code over here. So just select an option you want to use, and you'll see that the colors change for your areas. There we go. And here you can also change the missing area color, the map outline color, as well as the value colors. The available color options will change depending on the map you're using. Under the value tab, you can set the value range for your map, and this can come in handy if you have several tabs and you're comparing maps between one another. Then we have the fonts tab, where we can change the font size as well as the font color. Here in the drop-down, we can change the font itself. And if we select advanced settings, we can adjust some specific text items. For example, we could increase the size of the labels. And let's also make them bold and italicize them. So there we go. And you can also make the legend larger, for example. Then comes the legend tab. So here we can enable it or disable it. And you can also choose where you want to position it. Then we have the tooltips tab, so tooltips appear as your viewers hover over the map, so you can have some values indicated there, and this will improve the readability of the data that you visualized on the map. So if you're sharing your map online, I would encourage you to keep these on. Then comes the data format tab, where you can add a prefix and a suffix to your values, and you can also change the numeric format of your data. And last but not least, we have the accessibility tab, where you can provide a label and a description to your map, and then those viewers of your map who are using a screen reader, they will understand what's displayed on the map, because the screen reader will read out the text that you've included here. So if you decide to add text here, I would encourage you to be as descriptive as possible with it. Now let's move on with the training session, and I'll show you how to add data to your map. Now let's work on a new project, and here you can see that I've already added some text to the canvas. For example, the title of the map I'm going to be creating, and here at the bottom I've also indicated the source for the data I'm going to be using on my map. I would encourage you to always indicate the source of the data you're using in your data visualizations. And if you'd like to add a text object to your canvas, you can do that from the toolbar on the left by selecting Add Text, and there you'll see several text options that you can choose from. Now let's add a map, and let's use a map of the US one more time. There we go. Let's resize it, and let's align it to the center. Okay, so now let's add the data to our map. Let's double click on the map for the datasheet to open. And here you can type in your data manually in the cells. For example, let's do just that. And then you can see the map adjust to the data that you've included in the cells. We can also, of course, copy and paste from an external spreadsheet. For example, let's delete all of the data that we have here. And then you can use keyboard shortcuts, Command-V or Control-V to paste your data. There we go, we can see that instantly the map is populated with the data. And in addition to this, you can of course use other options as well. For example, at the top you can see that there's an Upload File button, and if you select this, you can upload an Excel or a CSV file from your computer and then visualize your data on the map this way. And you can have as many tabs as you'd like in that document, and all of them will appear on your map. Right next to it, we have the Add Google Drive document option. So this allows you to connect your Prezi account to your Google Drive account, and then once you select the spreadsheet, it's going to be linked to your map, and it's going to ensure live data updates. That means once you're going to make any changes in that Google Drive spreadsheet, the changes will automatically be displayed on your map. And if you've embedded it somewhere, they will also be displayed there on that website. We're going to use this option a bit later in the training session. Next to it, we have the option that says Add JSON Feed. So we can use this to enter a JSON feed URL, and then you can also ensure live data updates this way. And here you can see the database icon. So if we select it, we're going to see 5 online databases that we can use to source our data. And if we select one, we just need to fill out this form. You can find some additional information on how to do this on our support page. And once you're ready, select Create, and then you can source your data from an online database. Now let's make some adjustments to our map. And one of the things I'd like to change is the value range, because as we hover over the legend, we can see that there are no values that go lower than 30,000. So we could set the minimum value range to 30,000. For that, let's go to the Value tab, and here we can set the minimum and maximum value. And let's set the maximum value to 60,000. There we go, now we can see the differences between the states a lot clearer. Let's also change the color of the map. So let's go to the Color tab, and here let's change the hot color. For example, let's use this. I think it looks pretty good. I also want to adjust the legend, because we can see that it's a bit clustered, and for that we can go to Data Format, and here there's an option that says abbreviate thousand and million, so let's enable that, and now it looks a bit better in my opinion. Alright, and then let's also go to the Legend tab, where we can actually give a title to the legend. I don't think we need that at the moment because there's already a title on the top of the canvas, but we can add a low value label and a high value label, so let's do just that. Alright, and then we could also increase the font of the legend. So let's go to the Fonts tab, and here select Advanced Settings, and here we can tweak the legend. There we go. And another thing I want to change is how the tooltips are displayed, because currently, as I hover over the states, we can see that the values are displayed twice. So if I open the datasheet, here the value column is automatically displayed in the tooltips, and if I scroll to the right, we can see that here I have some text included. So there are 5 text columns, and the text to include here will also be displayed in the tooltips. So for that, we can go to the Tooltips tab, and here we can disable the option that says Show Values. So now we have only the text appearing that we have included in the datasheet. Okay, I think that this is looking quite alright. And now let me show you how you can download the map once you've finished editing it. For that, we need to go to the top right corner of the editor, and there is an option that says Download Your Project. So let's select it. In the download page, there are 5 different download formats that you can choose between. So for example, the first 3 are static: PNG, JPEG, and PDF. If you're planning to reuse your map somewhere else afterwards, I would encourage you to use the PDF vector file download, because this will ensure the highest quality for the download. And with the PNG and PDF, you can also enable a transparent background here on the right. So this can also come in handy afterwards. In addition to these 3, you can also download a GIF and an MP4 video file. So you probably wouldn't want to use this in this case when we have just a single map that we're downloading, but if you would have a map with several tabs and then download a GIF or an MP4, the tabs would be played out in a sequence one by one. So then this could make for a great social media post, for example. And once you're ready to download your project, you can just go to the panel on the right and select Download, and it's going to be downloaded to your computer. If you'd like to reuse your Prezi Design map in a Prezi Present project, you can add it to your library and then reuse it in the other editor. For example, we could right-click on the map, and there you can see that there's an option in the context menu that says Add to Library. So let's select this. Then we can see that the map was added to the library. We can go right there. Here we can see that it's going to load up. And then, for example, in other Prezi Design projects, you can also reuse the content you add to your library. You can just drag and drop them onto the canvas and customize them how you'd like. But you can also use these in your Prezi presentations. So let me go to the Prezi Present editor. And here, as you're working on the presentation, you would just need to go to the top of the page and select Insert. And here, select the My Library option. And there we can see the map that we just added in Prezi Design. So let's click on it. Let's wait for it to load up. And then you can reuse it however you'd like to. You can move it around the presentation, resize it, place it where you want it to appear, and of course zoom in on it as well. And if you'd like to, you can also use your Prezi Design content in Prezi Video. So for that, you just need to select Create Video here in the top right corner, and then you can record a video or go to an online conference and, for example, display your geographic data over a conference call. Now let's have a look at the various ways how you can share your map online. For that, let's create a new project by making a copy of the map that we were just working on. For that, in the Prezi Design dashboard, you just need to click on the 3 dots icon of a project thumbnail. And there you'll see the option that says Make a Copy, so let's select it. And then we get taken into the Prezi Design editor with the copied content on the canvas. For this project, let me add an Excel spreadsheet to the map. For that, let's open up the Maps datasheet, and there on the top we can see the option that says Upload File. So let's select it, and here we can select the file that we want to use. Okay, so now we can see all of the different spreadsheets from our Excel document appear on the map. We can see that there are different tabs that we can click on, and the data also is changing. But now, as I come here to this last tab and I hover over the state of California, for example, I can see that the value here is even more than 70,000, and our value range is not really proper at the moment. So for that, let's go to the Value tab, and there we can change the maximum value. Okay, there we go, and we can also change the heat map spectrum. Okay, and now as we click through the tabs, we can see the changes appear nicely on the map. One other thing we need to do is change the title of the map. There we go. And let's also change the title of the project. Okay, I think we're ready, and now let me show you the sharing options. To access those, you need to go to the top right corner of the editor where you'll see the Share button, so let's select it. And then this privacy settings pop-up will appear. If you're a paid subscriber of Prezi, all of your projects will be private by default. Otherwise, if you're a free user or if you want to, you can make your projects public. So for that, we just need to select this option that says anyone on the web. And then your project will also appear on search engines, so according to the title you've used for your project. And here you can see that there's also the option to copy this link, and you can share it with others for them to look at your project on its view page. Also here in the pop-up you can see that it's possible to enable this option that says allow others to make a copy of this design. So if you enable this option, others from the view page will be able to make copies of your map, for example, and then add their own data to that map. And if we select to keep the project private, it's also possible to create a private link. This way, only the people who you share the link with will be able to have a look at your map and the data that you visualized. And here you can see that it's possible to deactivate the link at any time. But now let's copy this link and go to the project's view page. And here on the view page, we can interact with our map by hovering over the state and having a look at the tooltips. We can also hover over the legend if we want to, and of course, click on the tabs to see the changes appear for each year. So this is one way how you can share your content, by providing others with a link to this view page. And as I already mentioned before, it's possible to embed your content. So for that, the option to embed is available here on the view page under your content. Let's select this option. And then you can see a embed code appear on the page. So you can just copy this and then go to your website, to your content management system. You can just paste the code there, and then with all the interactive elements intact, your map will appear on your website. For example, you could use it on an article, and I have an example of this. So here we can see that a map has been embedded in an article, and we can interact with it. We can hover over the icons and see the tooltips appear. We can interact with the legend, and just as easy as that, you can embed your map in an article and make it a lot more interesting and engaging for your viewers by visualizing geographic data. Another way how you can share your map online is downloading it and sharing it on a social media platform. So let's go to the download page. And since this map has several tabs, we could, for example, create a GIF. So let's select the GIF option. And with this format enabled, in your download, the map will play out each tab one by one. So it's going to be really easy to see the changes appear throughout the years. Here in the panel on the right, you can change the GIF size from the drop-down. You can also set the frame rate how you want to. And here we've enabled the option that says looped playback. So your GIF will play out in a loop. And then before you download, you can have a preview by selecting preview here. And once you're ready to download your map, you can just select download and it will be downloaded to your computer. Once the map has been downloaded, we can go to a social media platform like Twitter, for example. There we could provide a name of our project. We can then share a link to the view page, for example, or if you would have embedded this in an article, you could share a link to your website. And then let's drag and drop the GIF in our post. There we have it. Then let's just post it. And this is another way how you can share your maps online. So you can raise some interest by providing a GIF on a specific topic, and then you can also include a link where the viewers will be able to access more in-depth information on that topic. The next thing we'll cover is how you can create live updating maps in Prezi Design. In this part of the training session, I'd like to show you how you can create live updating maps in Prezi Design, and there are several ways for you to do that. First, let's open up the datasheet of the map. One of the ways how I can ensure live data updates is by connecting my map to a Google Drive spreadsheet, so let's do just that. As I already mentioned before, we have the option that says Add Google Drive Document over here, and if we select it, we're going to have a pop-up where we're going to see the spreadsheets available in our Google account. So the first time you're going to be doing this, you're going to need to connect your Prezi account to your Google Drive account. And once you've done that, you can add spreadsheets from your account. So now let's select a spreadsheet and then click Select. And now we can see that the map is connected to our Google Drive document. We can see that here on the spreadsheet on the right because we cannot edit anything here, and here at the top we can see that it says connected to Google Drive. And here we also have the auto update toggle enabled. So if we disable this, then the auto updates will be turned off and you're going to be able to edit your content here in Prezi. But if it's enabled, then your map is connected to your Google Drive account, and all of the changes you make in that specific document, they will automatically appear in your map. And also here above the spreadsheet, you can see the option that says disconnect. So at any moment, you can also disconnect your map from your Google Drive document. Now let's go over to the Google spreadsheet. So this is how the file looks that I just connected to our map. We can see that I've indicated all of the states here. I've indicated how many electoral votes are available for each state, and some other information here as well without specifying who has won each state, with just votes being counted indicated here. And displaying election results is one of the use cases for live updating maps, but of course you can use this option for any type of data that require regular updates, and if you want to then show that geographic data to your viewers by updating it, let's say hourly or on a daily basis, for example. And before we update our Google spreadsheet, we could actually add some tweaks to our map. So for example, if we go to the color tab, we could actually change the colors of the groups that we have. So for votes being counted, we could use this one, for example, and let's make sure that every party has its specific color here. Okay. And then we can also go to the Fonts tab and maybe let's make the legend larger on the map. There we go. So here in this spreadsheet, I have the results of the elections, so we can see that who has won in each state, and we can see the results for the election. So we could just copy this and then go back to the previous spreadsheet and paste the data there. So now we have pasted the data here and they will automatically appear on our map. And of course here I have straight copy pasted all of the results, but you could also add these results to your spreadsheet as the time goes by gradually. So you could indicate, for example, a state where the results have come in, and then you could add another state. So you could add information gradually as well, not like here in this presentation where I've already straight copy pasted the entire results. And if we go back to the editor, we can see that all of the data are here. We can hover over the states and we can see the information that I've indicated in the tooltips. So basically this is how you can update your map with Google Spreadsheets. Usually the data are updated every 5 to 10 minutes, but this can also be faster, of course. But if you're seeing that the data is not reloading and you want to do it yourself, so you can always go here and select the reload button over here. And then with these live data updates, of course, they will also appear on the view page. So if you've shared the link with someone and they're looking at the data, you can be sure that they will be automatically updated. And of course, also if you've embedded your map somewhere with an article on your website, for example, there as well, once they are updated in the editor, they will automatically show up in all of the embeds as well. And in addition to connecting your map to a Google Drive document, I also want to mention the two other options you can use for live data updates. And that is the option to add a JSON feed. So if we select this, we get this pop-up where you can copy and paste a JSON feed URL and then also source your data from there. And there's also the option to use one of these 5 online databases. So if you select one, you will then need to fill out this form. You can find additional information on this on our support page. And once you've filled everything in, you select create, then your map will also update in real time by using the database connection that you've indicated here. Now let's go back to the US map that we started today's training session with, and I'd like to show you some of the more engaging and interactive features you can use with your maps in Prezi Design. And one of those is adding URL links to the areas and icons of your map. First, let me show you an example. Here we can also see a map of the US that's been embedded in an article on a website, and as I'm going to hover over the map, you're going to see that each state appears as clickable as I hover over it. And that means that this user has added the URL link to each of these states. So for example, let's click on California. And as we do that, we get taken into a new document. So in this case, the user has linked every state to an external PDF document to provide additional insights on the data in each state. Now let me show you how you can do this yourself. Let's say we want to add a link to the area that's dedicated to California on our map. First, let's open up the datasheet. And there, to add a link to a specific area or icon, you just need to find that entry in the datasheet. So here we have the 5th row that says California. And here we just need to right-click on the cell of the value of that specific data entry. So let's do that. And in the context menu, you're going to see the option that says Add Change Link. So let's select that. And in this pop-up, you can see that there are 3 options, but currently only the first one is enabled because we don't have several pages here and we don't have several tabs on our map. So we can just select Add URL, and then we can enter the URL here in this text box. Let's select Apply. And now as we hover over the map, we can see that California is clickable, unlike all of the other states, so only the one that we added the URL link to. And if we click on it, we'll be taken to that page. So this is one way how you can use links in Prezi Design, by adding URLs to the areas and icons of your map. If you're working on a multi-page project in Prezi Design, it's also possible to add page links to your map. So here in this example, I have a map of Africa, and the user has indicated that we can click on specific regions to then jump into more detailed information on that region. And for example, we can hover over the north of Africa and let's click on one of these countries. And as we do that, we get taken to that specific page of this slide project where we can see some detailed information on that region. And also here the user has provided a button that will make us jump back to the first page so we can have a look at the entire map one more time. There we go, and now we can again go into the region that we want to have a look at. So this makes it a lot more interesting for the viewers, it makes for a lot more engaging experience, and it also is a lot easier for them to navigate your content. Let me show you how you can create page links with your maps yourself. Here in the Prezi Design editor, I'm also working on a multi-page project. This is a report template that is also available in the Prezi Design template library. And here we have a map of the world and with different continents visualized. And for example, let's say we want to add a link to Europe. So for that, let's open up the datasheet. There, let's find Europe. Here it is. We can right-click on this cell. And just as before, we can select Add Change Link. And since this project has several pages, we can also see that the second option is enabled. So we can select Add Link to another page. Then we can use this drop down over here to have a look at the pages so we get a little preview there. So let's select page number 3, for example. And then once we've done that, we just need to select Apply. We can close up the datasheet. And now as I hover over Europe, you can see that it's clickable. So unlike all of the other continents, Europe is clickable. And we could go into full screen mode in the top right corner of the page. And now let me just show you how this works. So we hover over Europe, we can click on it, and then we get taken to that page that we just provided the link to. So just as easy as that, you can make your content more interactive and you can make it easier for your viewers to navigate your content by adding page links to your maps. And the last option regarding links I'd like to show you is the possibility to use tab links on your maps. So here in this example, we can see a dashboard that has a map of the EU as well as 2 charts, and here they are linked together by their tabs. So if I select a country from the drop down here at the top, we're going to see that all 3 of these objects adjust simultaneously. And if I start clicking through the countries, you're going to see that all of them are changing instantly as soon as I select a new country. So in this project, the map has been linked together with the charts with the help of tabs. And let me show you how you can do this yourself. Here I've created a similar example. So on the left of the page you can see a map and on the right there's a chart. And you can see that there are 3 tabs on top of each of these. And if I click on the tabs, you're going to see that both of these are changing simultaneously because I've linked them together with their tabs. And in order for this to work, the most important thing you need to remember is that you need to have the same tab names for your charts and your maps. So if I open the charts datasheet, for most of the charts you can add new tabs by just typing in new columns, and then you can name those tabs in the first row of the datasheet. Whereas with the maps, you would need to go to the bottom part of the page and select the plus symbol there, and then you can rename them here at the bottom. And once you have those intact, once you have charts or maps with the same tab names, you need to go to the settings. So here on the right, we can access the settings, and the feature will be available here under viewer experience. So if we select this, we can see that I've enabled the option that says link charts by tab name. So if I disable this, now we can see that the chart is changing and the map is not. But if we go back and enable it, now we can see that both of these are changing again. And then we can go to the chart's properties, and here there's an option to hide the tabs of the chart. So we can do that and now use the map to navigate between both of these objects. And then we can actually go to Maps properties and hide the tabs of the map as well. And I can do that because I've added links to those tabs to these 3 text items here at the top. So if I go into full screen mode and click on these, you're going to see that these are changing now. So it's really easy to do. You just right click on an object like I have here, and there it says edit link. The first time this would say add link. And since this project has content that has several tabs, here we have the third option enabled that says add link to open chart map tab. And then you can just select the object here, like the map for example, select the tab you want to open, click apply, and then you will be able to connect these objects to your map or chart as well. And another way how you can use this, so here I have another example, and here we have a map of South America, and here we have a chart on the right. And I've actually linked some of these countries on the map to the tabs of this chart. And if I click on Brazil, for example, you can see that the chart automatically adjusts to our selection. We can then click on Argentina, and we can see that the chart changes again. So if I open up the maps datasheet, here we can see that I've added links to these countries. And it's really easy to do. You just right click on a country here. Then once again, like we did before, you just find add change link. And here we have the third option. So we could select the chart, and here we can select the tab that we want to link the country to. So once we select that, we can select apply, and then it's going to work like I just showed you. And then we can also hide the tabs of this chart if we don't need them, and we can just click through the countries here. They will appear as clickable, so I've added this to some of the countries and others are not clickable. So these are the various ways how you can use links with your maps in Prezi Design. Now let's move on to callouts. Another way how you can make your maps more interactive is by using the callouts feature available in Prezi Design. And here I have an example I'd like to show you. We can see a map of Europe with some icons placed on top of it. And as we hover over the icons, we can see that they are clickable. So let's click on one of these. And as we do that, we can see the callout appear. So within the callouts, you can add images, you can customize them, and you can also add text and customize that to your liking as well. And you can also add links within these callouts, like I showed you before, for example, with URLs and page links. So the callout provides a sort of extra layer of content for your map. And of course, you can use these callouts on any type of content, not just maps, but I'm showing you a map example since that's what the training is focused on. And of course, let me show you how you can create callouts yourself. So let's use a map of the US for this example, and as you can see, I'm using a tile layer. In case you forgot where you can add it, you just need to select the map and go to its properties in the settings panel on the right, and there you can enable the tile layer option. And then if you scroll down a bit, you can see this drop down where you can select between a number of different tile layers. But regarding callouts, you can add those to different objects in Prezi Design. For example, you could select Add Shape, and then you can add a callout to each of these shapes available on the list, except lines and arrows. Also, if you select Add Graphics, for example, you could add a callout to an icon or to an image. And you can also select the Add Element option over here on the left, and there you can see a category that's dedicated to callouts. So if we select it, we're going to have several options. We can just drag and drop onto the canvas. Some of these already have text in them, some have images. Then you can just add your own content, and this can be a really quick way to create a callout. I'd like to show you how you can use icons for callouts. So let's select Add Graphics, let's select Icons, and for example, let's look for an icon of mountains. Okay, we can see that there are several options we can pick from. Let's use one of these, for example, this one. Let's just drag and drop it onto the canvas. There we go. And we could place this on top of Colorado, for example. Let's resize it a bit. Let's change its color so that we can see it better. Alright, and to add a callout, you just need to right click on that object, and as you do that, you're going to see the option that says Add Callout in the context menu. So let's choose it, and then you can start typing your text in right away. I'm just going to copy and paste some text. There we go, and of course you can resize the text box however you want to, so we can hover over one of the sides and resize it, like so. We could increase the font of the text, so all of the text customization options are available on the right. and you can customize it as you would a regular text box. There we go. Let's resize it a bit more. Maybe let's do this as well. All right. And then once we open the callout, you can find its customization options in the settings panel on the right over here. So, for example, there's a drop down under positioning, and here you can select where you want to position the callout. So, for example, let's select the option on the right. There we go. Then we have a drop down under behavior. So if we select this, you can see that there are two ways how the callouts can work. So you can select them to open on hover. So once your viewers will hover over the icon or the shape, then the callout will appear. And there's also the option for callouts to open on click, as I showed you in the example before. Then we can change the background color. Of course, you can use the palette colors, the color picker, copy and paste a hex color code. Here we can also add an image, so let's select add. And here you can upload your own image or look for one by using the search bar. There we go, let's just select one of these. Okay, then we can resize it how we want to. And also here on the right, for example, we could add a shadow if you want to use that, for example. All right, there we go. And now if we go into full screen mode here in the top right corner, we can hover over the icon and then we see that it's clickable. And if we click on it, we're going to see the callout that we just created. So just as easy as that, you can add callouts to your Prezi Design maps. The last thing I want to cover is how you can upload your own custom maps and use those in your Prezi Design projects. So let's select Add Map in the left side toolbar. And there, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have the Custom tab. In Prezi Design, you can upload your JSON, GeoJSON, TopoJSON, and KML files. So to upload a map file, let's select Upload. And then let's pick a file from our computer and select Open. And before the map gets uploaded, we need to set some parameters here. So the first one that says ID, here the one we select will be used to map our data. So here we could select the name entry, for example. Then under group name, the option we select here will be used to group our areas on the map. So here let's select the region option. And thirdly, we see the label dropdown, and the option we select here will be used in the tooltips. The tooltips appear when viewers hover over areas or icons of your map. So here we could select same as ID so that the name that we've selected in the first dropdown will also appear in the label. And then we can also interact with the map and see how this looks like. And once you're set, select Import. Let's wait for it to upload. And once it's uploaded, you're going to find it in the custom tab that we just used. So all of the maps you upload will be available here. And if you're part of a team plan, then all of your team members can also access these maps. So this option to upload custom maps is available to premium users and to Prezi Teams users. And then you can just insert the map as you would with a regular map from the list. There we go. And here, if you hover over the map's thumbnail, you can see a couple of options you can use, like rename the map you've uploaded. It's also possible to download a GeoJSON file of the map, and if you don't need the map anymore, you can delete it from here. But if you delete it from this list, the map will still remain intact in any of the projects you might have used it in. And that brings us to the end of the training session. You can learn more about Prezi Design's maps and the other features by heading over to our knowledge base at support.prezi.com. See you another time.